Hello, Hyro family. Welcome. Is that a thing? I say it sometimes. I don't know. I'm gonna be doing a little Celtic Cross style self read today. I already did one side on the Legacy channel. Now we're getting the SKT. Dreams have been interesting lately. I've had this year. I've gone through different cycles in my dreams. Um, in the beginning of the year, or closer to the beginning of the around what April May maybe um is when I started using these tools, I guess you could call them. And then moving into June, it's like I didn't need the tools anymore to do whatever the tools did in the dream. And then moving beyond that, things got more and more sort of effortless in some ways, but more intense in others, because it turned basically into these like battles of the imagination type of energy, and I am not that quick. So I was really having to think on my feet, and I was stressed. And there were a few. Anyway, basically, what's this? Lately, I'm getting more and more and more. Like I had a series of that. It's like I'll be in a room that I recognize as mine, but it won't be the room that I'm in right now, so I'll know that I'm dreaming. And then I'll get out of bed and I'll do whatever I want. It's like a gateway to a different type of lucid dream than I'm used to, because it almost happens like up front instead of like it occurring at some point throughout the dream. And so I guess it gives me a little bit more flexibility in directionality up top, instead of like, trying to do whatever. And for some reason, my grandmother's house has been, maybe it worked so well the night before last that last night they was like, oh, put him in his grandma's house. He'll get the picture. And I'm like, but every time I'm like, I go outside and I wake up back in the house. I'm like, what is going on? Hello? Hello? I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. Ace of Heart, no, Ace of Diamonds. Chain links a divine codex. Chain links a divine codex. An arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. Love that energy. Ace of Diamonds is the. Is it the ring? Ace of Spades is the woman. Ace of Hearts is the man. One of them is the ring. The other one is. Oh, I don't remember. I literally just had one of these aces. I think it was the Ace of Clubs last time. And I was like, I'm not going to remember what this is. But I think I'll remember that the Ace of Diamonds is the ring. Now, if the Ace of Diamonds is the ring, then, that rock, I'll be able to remember that. I don't know why I wouldn't have been able to remember that before, but, now I'll get it. Pyra. Here we go. Hearts, diamonds, our girl's best friend. Ace of Diamonds is the sun. Okay. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not the ring. This is the sun. A divine codex, chain links, stuff like that. Let's get into these first. So it's going to be current, obstacle, past, underlying, overlying, future, me, environment, hopes and fears. And I'm not going to do an outcome because I don't really like to do those anymore. Oh, there's the Two of Wands, and that came out on the other side. This will just be a little bit of a deeper dive, I guess. A little bit more on the stuff below the surface, maybe. Perhaps. Four of Wands with the Page of Wands. Like that energy. And we'll just see. I'm going to pull them all off the top. So whenever I feel like, it's time to go. Oh, it's go time. All right. Let's go. But yeah, it's been a lot of that lately. And it's interesting because in the dream, and it is a pretty lucid dream. So, but I have to get out of bed. I always start by getting out of bed because I start in my room in bed. And then I have to be like, whoa, I'm not like in this room. Like, this isn't my room. I'm in a dream. And so to get out of bed takes so much effort. It takes so much effort. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get out of bed in this dream, not in real life. But sorry, it was not that funny. Um, but that's how I feel because I'm like, oh my gosh. But maybe it like rewires the brain in a certain. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's just get into this. That's what's happening lately. It happened like time after time after time after time after time in my dreams last night. Maybe to get me in the practice of recognizing and getting out of bed. Maybe that was it. Cause like last time I did it, I was able to actually go somewhere, but it seemed like I kept getting sent back to bed. Anyway, moving forward, and then I had a conversation with some lady about how the world is gonna go. I was like, okay, let's talk about Patrick's experience and Patrick's reality, because in Patrick's reality, this, and that not gonna happen. For those who believe in this, they can have that experience. I'm not here to convince them that they want anything otherwise. But for Patrick, we're gonna do it this way and this way only. Not only, but don't need all that disaster. Oh, starting with the 9 of Cups in my present energy. Wish fulfillment. The wish granted, literally on the card. The wish granted. And I've been working towards this wish for a hot minute. Doing lots of work. It was the 6 of Wands in the present energy over there, but it's the 9 of Cups over here, and I love that because that's a little bit of a. It's just comforting to know that everything I'm not doing for no reason. But even if I didn't have this, I would continue to do it because that's where I'm at right now. The wish granted. Now in this deck, every planet is represented. Well, the sacred 7. So the original 7 planets, which is the planets minus Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And then there's the North Node, the South Node, and the Power Cross. Somewhere, right? No. There's only 9. There's no Power Cross this time. It's the North Node, the South. Well, the Power Cross is right there on the card of the Sun. In the middle. Power Cross. Okay. So there is this sort of alignment that's going on. There's North Node, South Node, Sun. There's Moon, Saturn, Sun. There's Mars, Mercury, Sun. Jupiter, Venus, Sun. Also Moon, Venus, North Node, South Node, Jupiter, Saturn. That's interesting because I actually have a grand trine. No, that's my North Node in Gemini. I was like, I actually have a grand trine because my Saturn trines my Jupiter. And my Jupiter opposes my Venus. Anyway, wish granted in the space of things coming to fruition. The obstacle here is the contender, the 5 of Wands. Of course it would be. Now, I kind of talked about this earlier, or on the previous one, but I'm also in this space. So I'm in this space right now of just like letting things go, honestly. It's Scorpio season. Whatever's on its way out is on its way out, and I'm preparing for everything coming in. And I'm not going to hold on to something that's not worth holding on to and miss out on this wish granted. I'm not going to do it. But also, at the same time, it's a need for discernment, basically. And I feel like whoever I got on my team working with me is so over the top, but to the point that whenever I deviate too much, then I feel like I get like scared straight or yelled at in a dream or something. And I'm like, okay, gosh, goodness, I get it. My grandmother popped up the other night and made me cry. But honestly, it's just this like there are things that I'm being called to do in my life right now. And there are ways that I'm being called to step up that are going to serve me in many, many, many different ways. And I can't always be so quick to let something go or to walk away from something. And that's one of the things that I'm also being cognizant of right now. But I'm also, like I said, at the same time, trying not to hold on to things that aren't supposed to be there, but trying to recognize the things that just require more from me. Because if I'm going where I want to end up going, I'm gonna have to be present in life. I can't just be that, oh, like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. Like, I have to input. I have to give my input. I'm going to have to give my input, especially with the type of work I'm wanting and stuff like that, right? And I've talked about that before. And so that's why this Five of Wands, I feel like, is an obstacle right now, because it's, again, that's another part of me that is in this space of transformation. It's the part of me that just throws my hands up and walks away. In the past is the Six of Cups, the Memory Keeper. And I kind of want to go immediately to the future. Oh, this is not what I wanted. Okay, we gonna do this real quick because I need some gosh darn contexts. Okay, yeah. So I thought maybe I made a mistake by putting this in the future, but with this being the the underlying cause, this is perfect, and this is perfect. So this is how it's supposed to be. So when the Memory Keeper came out, this is one of the cards. We see the Phoenix and the Dragon 3 times in this deck together. The first time is in the Memory Keeper while they're babies. The second time is in the Lovers where they're mature. The third time is in the Devil where they're chained up. I was hoping the Lovers would come out in the future where they're mature, but they're chained up. But, oops. Oh, I'm keeping it like this because this is the energy I was feeling anyway. Um, So in the past it was the Devil, in the future it's the Memory Keeper, which is this rebirth. Because that's another thing that I've been doing. It's almost like with this contender, I'm in this space of more consciously limiting the amount of course correction that's needed by the things that I don't do that I know I need to do. Right? I've been reflecting on opportunities that I didn't take, that I just didn't take because I procrastinated, other ways I've self sabotaged, um, things in my life that I could have fought more for, and all of these other things that they don't come up as regret. They come up as things that I need to be aware of moving forward. And so, the Memory Keeper is also the space of the inner child, could be, but it's freeing up both in feminine and in masculine aspects. I feel like the feminine aspects are more of the like mental and emotional ones of like, oh, people always leave, no one sticks around, and blah blah blah. Like, excuse me, if nothing or no one in life is a constant, then I'd rather not get attached to people. And it was that also me wanting to be in the space where I don't need anybody. All of that was like more of the feminine aspect, and then the masculine aspect was me expressing myself, putting myself out there, shining, taking opportunities, and showing up in the fullness of who I am. And so at the root, or the underlying thing, is I feel like this is a partnership with self. The downward pointing triangle is feminine, it's the element of water. And that's what I've been talking about and doing, is bringing my light and my dark into balance, bringing my feminine and masculine into balance, and putting them in a position where they amplify each other instead of fighting against one another. And then the overlying is the warrior. It's the sun card. And that was the power cross on the space of the sun, and the ace of diamonds. Here it is again, the sun and the Lenormand. So the sun is here twice. Did not necessarily think that this would be a thing, but chain links, right? And then we have the lovers tied up here. And it's so interesting because I told when I was in high school, I met this one guy, and he's a real interesting character. He's a Cancer, I think. July 5. Yeah, he's a Cancer. Um, and I told him that like there was this experience I remember in the 5th grade. I was a problem child growing up. I had a lot of light, but also a lot of darkness, and an extremely short temper. So, oh, see, I poured this up. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. That's my last thing of orangeade ginger ale. I poured it up before I started the video, and I was like, wait, I just brushed my teeth not too long ago. And I was like, oh, well, if I need it, it'll be there. And I ended up needing it, and it was there. So sometimes we do these things beforehand, before we even know why. I had that lesson last summer. I was like, well, whatever I feel led to do, I'm just going to do it. Because after a whole day of running around, that could have been cut in time drastically. What is where? Where is this coming from? Excuse me. Excuse me. It was like, oh, I should grab my wallet. I should grab this. I should grab that. I didn't grab any of it. Ended up running around literally all day, back and forth for things that I knew I should have grabbed the first time. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just start listening to it anyway. Back to this. Back to this. Back to this. This is this internal harmony that I'm working to build between these two energies, repairing this relationship. My friend, at this one place in high school, and I don't even think they did background checks at this place. Maybe they did. It was a place where people who maybe would find employment difficult to get in other places where they could get a job. And my grandmother was there for a long time, and my grandfather, and everyone in my family. When you came of age, you worked at this place to instill work ethic in you, and I hated it. I hated it. But I appreciate it so much for what it instilled in me. And I really did have to work with all kinds of people, girl. And sometimes we just, I'd be stubborn. I'd be like, you know what? I'm not putting up with you today. I'm not dealing with this today. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm just not. Pisces sun is eclipsed by Taurus moon today, so you get no loving. Even though, Taurus moon is very loving. Anyway, you get the stubborn side, the dark side of Taurus moon because it's eclipsing the sun. Um, anyway, let me stop. But I remember telling him when I was in 5th grade, I just had like this extremely short temper. And I kind of sort of felt like I had something to prove for some reason I don't even know. And young Patrick did not like being disrespected or talked down to at all. And I didn't care who was doing it. Young Patrick, when he didn't want to be moved, he didn't want to be moved. And if anybody put their hands on young Patrick, they got a bunch more coming back their way. Didn't matter who it was. I was an equal opportunist. And you lay a hand, catch a hand, catch 2 hands, 3 hands, 5 hands. Anyway, but I remember telling him that at one point it felt like a significant portion of my light at that point took that darkness and just like locked it up somewhere very, very, very deep inside of me. And literally after that, I was so like monotone and stoic from like middle school onward. And I really did feel like I lost like I've been able to manage my temper. Like I had literally no problems after that managing my temper, but I also felt like the thing that really made me like alive and brought me to life had also disappeared. And so it was locked up for a while. But it was this case of like if things don't change, that's going to be my future. So we did a little bit of rerouting, renavigating, coming out of that dark space and swinging it back up. And now, I get to get my inner child back and all of its glory, and sometimes she's a little sassy, sometimes he's real sweet. He's dynamic like that. But also the light and the dark, and it's about everything coming together to make me this unified whole that can shine in all of my brightness and authenticity. And it's the warrior. So in the space of me, again, we have the Nine of Pentacles, the Eminence. This is interesting because on the Legacy channel, the Nine of Pentacles came out as the overlying theme. And the King of Wands was the space of me. But on this deeper level, I guess, this warrior. Oh, Leo! It's like it's flipped. Because the King of Wands is a Leo energy, but the Sun is like the Sun and not the King of Wands. Excuse me. And this Nine of Pentacles is here where it was there. This is something that I've also been working towards. And it's this integration with my higher self, more or less. And that's why I take the approach that I take of not always being so quick to try to just trying to utilize my own spiritual resources within myself to grow, evolve, and to face challenges. Because the more I grow internally, the easier it makes it to connect on both sides and like form that bridge and to make it stable to the point where I can embody more of who I am, right? And not be so subjected to the events that happen on earth, right? You have a bad day and you're like this, you have a good day and you're like that. It's to be a little bit more centered. And the face, her face, is the space where the void is in the Kabbalah, the tree of life. Interesting. So much earth energy. Well, not really. It's the Three of Pentacles, Capricorn here, and more. Capricorn, Capricorn, Virgo, Pisces, Leo, Sun/Leo, Scorpio. I ain't got no Virgo in my chart, but maybe that's why it was up there on the Legacy channel to awaken the planet of Earth in my chart. And the planet of Earth is that space of dynamism. Things that are continuously changing and dynamic and rapid and evolving and growing and maturing. And it's the opposite of my Sun in Pisces. Here's Pisces energy, here's Sun, and then here's the opposite, which is Virgo. Anyway, sitting in the Nine of Pentacles right now, which is in a spiritual way, because this is a little bit more spiritually based, solid. Fairly solid, pretty solid. On the physical, I'm working towards physical stability, and maybe that's why it was up there the last time. But in a spiritual sense, I'm pretty solid, and like I said, I'm trying to embody that warrior, that my higher self. And it was so interesting because I've talked about it before, and I'm not trying to make this too long because I do have things to do. Like actually do now because I only have 7 weeks to do everything. Now the appointment wants to do whatever, and the other thing is taken off, so I'm gonna have an interview potentially the day after my appointment, and I got all this other stuff that I'm gonna be able to start figuring out because this appointment is gonna be done, and I gotta do schoolwork on top of all of it because I've been waiting. But that's fine because all things in their time. So back to what I was saying, and I talked about it before. It was like I did this guided meditation to wake up my spirit guides, or to meet my spirit guides, right? And there was this place where there were 2 of them, and then this higher self in the back asleep, and I was like, what's higher self doing back there asleep? Hello, excuse me. And then I went up to higher self, and I'm like, "What you doing back here? Asleep?" And it didn't wake up, but it was like, you got to be ready for all of this before you try to wake this up. And I was like, "I'm ready. I can take it. Like, come on." And then literally the next day, the next 2 days, darkest nights of my life, to the point where like I've struggled with depression like all my life, literally. And I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, put on medications and all kinds of stuff, went to group therapy, all kinds of stuff, about 2017 over the summer. So I started the medication and the group therapy the fall of 2017, which was the semester before everything in my life fell apart. So, right? Or no? Yeah, because I believe by that point, um, yeah, by that point, one of my really good friends had already left campus. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that was the summer. No, that was 20. Hold up. Summer 2018? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, roughly a year before my darkest night, all of that stuff happened. And I was talking to, I had an individual session, or maybe I was like the only person that showed up to one of the group sessions one day. I don't remember. And I checked in with somebody. No, I had an individual session because there was this person in my life who loved me and who cared about me very much. And I would be like, I'm fine. I am mentally not going to do any, I am not going to physically do anything to myself, but mentally this is what I'm going through right now. And he was like, okay, well, we're going to see somebody right now. And I'm like, I told you, like, I'm not gonna do anything, and I'm fine. He's like, I don't care. We're going to see somebody. So I went to go see this lady that I had already had interactions with because of the group. And she was like, well, have you tried this, or have you thought about this, and that? And she said medication, but I heard meditation. And I was like, oh, well, I was like, I've been seeing a bunch of ads for this Headspace app, and I was thinking about meditation. And she was like, oh, sorry, like medication, not meditation, but meditation ended up being what fixed things for me personally. I would say still go see a professional, of course, and do whatever you got to do to get to the place that you need to be in. But I'm not that great with medication because once I miss one day, it's over. I was so good taking it every day for like a few months, feeling amazing. And then winter break happened, late nights happened, and I just stopped taking it. Anyway, I met the spirit guys literally the next day, or maybe the day after. Um, no, I think it was the next night because I woke up the next day like, oh snap, like that was cool, and I'm gonna start my spiritual journey. And by that night, darkest night of my life, that lasted like 2 days, the most the emptiest depression I've ever felt. Like usually I get like super sad depressed. This was just like empty depressed. This was like I could do anything right now and not even care. And after I came out of it, it scared me because I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to survive another one of those. And then I was like, wow, spirit guys, like y'all really just gonna leave me like that? I can't believe it. See, y'all don't care about me. But not too long after that, maybe that day, maybe the next day, I think it was that day. Instead of doing another guided meditation, I just looked up binaural beats. It was this super consciousness. I could link it in the description box because I think it's in my watch later. Um, if anyone is curious what it was, and I literally just laid on my bed and went with it for the full 2 hour thing. And that's when higher self that was asleep in the back, this mantra came to me to basically awaken it. And so awakened higher self, went on these little different whatevers, and then got some supplementary stuff to whatever. And everything that I found that was supplementary, I'm like, this is a great base, thanks for getting me started, but I'm gonna do this and this my way. And then that's how I built that first space, and then other stuff happened. Anyway, after like a week or 2 weeks, higher self left. I was like, what the? Where are you going? Like, you was asleep. Hello? I was just like, what the freak? What the freak? You just gonna leave me like that? But I've been good ever since, and so I kind of sort of reconnected. Um, and I haven't really done it in a while, honestly. Within the past week or so, and higher self was like, you don't really need me to be like right there, because we're already like forming this bridge, already forming this connection. You're already becoming more like me, right? Already embodying more and more of my higher potential, my greater potential. Let's just say it that way. I like it that way. Embodying my greater potential in the spiritual sense, and being able to hold that as I navigate and walk through the earth in different circumstances and things like that. And the environment is the keeper. That, I guess, is the world of spirit that is ready to open up. And then hopes and fears is the Four of Cups, the hollow void. Like, I don't think I'm afraid of missing out on anything. Because the Hermit came up earlier. And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm afraid of ending up alone. I don't feel like I'm afraid of missing out on anything. Because ultimately, at this point, I know that whatever leaves is not meant to be. But, as we can see on this side, it's about, sometimes we do have to exert a little bit of effort. And Patrick is like, effort? Ew, I think I'm allergic. But that's why we got to switch this, because without effort, we end up in devil energy. Instead of reclaiming this is like original path, and this is the projected path. This is the other side of that Hierophant. And maybe this is why I'm struggling so much with Hierophant energy right now, Loki. Because I'm kind of sort of starting to see devil energy and Hierophant energy sometimes as one and the same. Because with the Keeper in the environment, this is about going beyond the Hierophant and knowing the divine for yourself. So maybe this is the welcoming of this energy. Are they? How similar do they look? Let's see. Not extremely. Could we say that they're the same person for the sake of this video? For the sake of this reading, sure. But I feel like that's just like the world of spirit sort of opening up, and I can see that, because that's another thing that I've been talking about, right? It's that things are shifting in a certain direction. Things are shifting more towards compassion and cooperation, and away from competition. And so if we are establishing and building ourselves in these positively impactful, cooperative, spreading of compassion ways, then the universe spirit is supporting that energy, and they will assist us as we move forward, because that's what we need more of in the world right now, and that's what things are shifting to, like I said. So this is that cooperation of spirit, because again, that's the path I'm navigating myself towards, that for me required a lot of healing and integration and releasing. And I'm still doing it. And then we end up with the hollow void. I think in the hopes space, as I've been in this mode of, oh, I like this. Because this monk person has two sets of hands. And so it's like, because I just talked about becoming one with my greater potential, my higher self, whatever. And I feel like that's the hands at the top, while the hands at the bottom, like, that's the peace and the zen that I am maintaining as I move forward in my life, but not in a just like sitting somewhere and meditating way, because it's about this Nine of Pentacles. It's about holding it within you as you move forward instead of just, being in a monastery somewhere. And for those folks who are in a monastery somewhere, they are doing work on the collective that needs to be done. That's their path. For some others of us, our path is to have a similar Zen, but to go about bringing it into the world and not being in a monastery somewhere. And I feel like that's what this is. As I try to hold that space and come into this greater alignment, that's when the things that I've been working for start to come in. But again, I got to be able to recognize them when they get here and to claim what is mine to claim and to release what is not mine and to know the difference between the two. Because the wish granted, that's my present energy right here. So, we're like right there. And that's what it is. That's how I go through the cup suit, right? We reject it at the 4 the first time, but after we walk away with the 8, we come to the space to accept it when it's offered again at the 9 of cups. This is everything that I've been working for, everything that I've been dreaming about and hoping for, coming in, literally, because that's my present energy. And it leads to this rebirth. And I feel like this rebirth in the future that's why this was here. This is that Aksunare energy. This is that dawn. This is that living everything that I was afraid of in the past. What I was too scared to claim because I didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to mess it up because I ran from happiness, honestly. But now it's like we're shifting things where these dreams. 6 of Cups is also a soulmate energy, so I'll take it. Sorry. But it's a complete experience, so it involves all things, everything, But yeah, and then here's the sun at the top. Yeah. Because of all the work, this is all the work I've had to do within myself to be in a space to accept the sun and to not run from it like I used to do. And that's why the devil came up at first. But, I like how it flipped. Bottom of the deck is the Reaper. This is that space of transformation, but following the light. And I love that as I set this down, it's moving forward into the future. Let's go. Let's get one of these to wrap this up, and then I will get to all the things that I gotta do. And if I'm being completely 100% honest with myself, sometimes when I think about what I'm about to start doing, it does trigger me in a way. Not in any necessarily like super negative ways, but just like, am I really about to do this? It's like, yes, I am. I'm about to do this, and I'm not going to sabotage it. I'm actually going to show up. Right? And that's another reason why I've been like a little extra vigilant when it comes to not self-sabotaging, because this is that Aksunare. Like I've been saying for the past however long I've been saying it. It's the space of light coming in where there was only darkness before. And this is part of the darkness that sent me into my darkest night. And so it took roughly 2 years. It'll be 2 years in a few weeks. Wouldn't it be crazy if my interview was on the day? But November 3rd, 2018 is when I came out of that darkest night and when I really began my little spiritual journey. Started doing all the meditation and everything like that. It was a few weeks before I went to London and had an amazing experience with my very good friend who had moved away. And he was one of my pillars, as annoying as he was. He was one of my pillars, and we said we would, because like I had abandonment issues, and so whenever someone would say goodbye, I would, like, because I was at school, right, and people graduate. And so, like, in the semester where they would graduate, or in the year before they graduated, I would just naturally sort of drift to lessen the impact of that goodbye. Growing up, I would get close to somebody and then they would move away. So it scarred me in some ways, and that's part of why I entered that super isolationistic phase myself. But with him, I was like, he told me that we would keep in touch, and I was like, wow, like that's the only reason, not the only reason, but that helped me not pull away. And we ain't even talking. He was like, what are you talking about? We talk all the time. I'm like, we've talked twice in the past 5 months, and I'm used to seeing you every day. Now I'm good. I'm good now. Thankfully, that was a space that I had to adjust to. 9 of spades is the bottom of the deck. A swaying tower that is moments from toppling, clouded vision and burning lands, and a powder keg. That sounds ominous. Let's see what the 9 of spades is. The tower is my card for a Sagittarius season, though. But I feel like it's a good tower. Poisonally, it's that Aksunare, the release of the darkness. This is the anchor. Stability, restraint, security, resilience, durability, laying foundations, neutral, and a long time. Okay. So I would say that's what was anchoring me down. The card that came out is the 3 of spades, a complete restructuring of home, a breathtaking sight that redefines beauty and allowing one's soul to breathe. So yeah. If this is the swaying of the tower that's moments from toppling and the powder keg, and this is a restructuring of the home, this lines up with that devil energy. This lines up here. But it is something that I have to stay in this space that I've cultivated for myself to continue moving forward with, so that I don't reject it when it presents itself more fully, because the energy of it is already here. And as it moves in closer and closer to my physical, it agitates me a little bit more and more. And so that's why I've been like, oh, don't self-sabotage, don't self-sabotage. But it's all being transformed. It's in this process of transformation as I face it right now. So this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. This is like crisis averted type energy. But it's taken me 2 years to do this. So like 2 Knight of Pentacles years where like I've tried at least my best to be continuously moving forward. And I've had an excellent support in family and in some friends that I've made along the way. And special shout out to Emily, because we really started our journeys at the same time, and we encourage each other to keep going. And we have we ask each other the tough questions. And sometimes we have tough conversations, and we really got to face ourselves. But to be in a space where you can do it, oh, there's the tower, there it is. But in this deck, oh, coming into that new world, the Axe of Shiva cuts out all corruption. So this is definitely a tower that needs to fall. Which I'm glad that restructuring of the home came out. And allowing one's soul to breathe. And I talked about that, right? The truth of who I am on the internal being invited to walk with me on the external. Or at least to try my best, Nothing is necessarily perfect, but just because we don't reach perfection, or just because perfection is not attainable, doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I saw you 2 of Cups trying to come out. Ooh, I like that. Bottom of the deck is the Page of Pentacles. Stronghold of the Grail. With the Archangel of Mysteries behind her. I'm going to take that as her message. Archangel of Mysteries is my new card for October. With the Knight of Pentacles. And October's almost over. Title card came out, which is the perfect way to end it. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't even know what's going to happen. All I know is that it's going to be good, and I'm going to love it. Because that's what I'm setting myself up for. That's why I continue to do the work. It's why I don't focus so much on my current external circumstances, because those could literally change overnight. It's happened to people. Overnight. Whole life. Just different. I mean, it's already happening to me. Like, I'm so much of who I wouldn't be. Before, even when I started these channels, like I never would have put a PayPal in the description because it has my full name on it. I wasn't even using my name, Patrick. Hello? And like I've had an excellent community that helped get me to this point, and I strive to continue moving forward because this is not where I end. This is not where it ends. So, final message from the Diceology, please. Thank you. It was just runny today. Oh, here's that Ace of Clubs. Here's that Ace of Clubs. There's the ring. Here's the ring. So the Ace of Diamonds is the sun. The Ace of Clubs is the ring. And I can remember that because it's not that easy. You can't just say, here's a big old diamond. That's the ring, right? Bottom of the deck is the Ten of Spades. Fueling the growing fire of truth. Have I ever had this? I don't think I've... Oh, this is a 77! No, wait, no, hold up. No, I take it back. This ain't no 77. This is a 75. Oh, wow. I was hype. 75 is the Scholar of Souls, which is like the Knight of Wands type energy. Which is... It's like the internship phase, right? It's like the page begins to learn all these things, but the knight is the one who begins to put it into practice before the knight really knows enough to begin teaching someone else, or before the knight comes into a space of more fully mastering it themselves. It's a space of practicing. So practicing this soul connection, which is what I was saying with that 9 of Pentacles being my current, like where I am right now, of trying to live out this connection, right? Fueling the growing fire of truth, creating space for a miracle, delving inside to go beyond. That's why that Hermit was up there, I guess. There's a card. How is this laid out? I don't know. Kind of like a seed that's sprouting a little bit like a shovel. Also could be an anchor. Yeah, I could see this being an anchor. If you can see the dice, it's like, here's this straight line down and then it flares out to the sides. That could be an anchor. Why not? 10 of Spades. Interesting. Fueling the growing fire of truth, creating space for a miracle, delving inside to go beyond. I don't think I've ever seen that card come out. I forgot that I wrote... Oh, it's 1:11 on the clock right now. 1:11 on the clock. Can y'all see that? Maybe. I told y'all, these angel numbers going to come through. These repeat numbers. 10 of Spades is the ship. Let's go. Departure, farewell, distance, voyage, travel, journey, adventure, positive, and a long time. We're moving forward. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I like that energy. And then here's the ring. A strong will and an open heart, all things taken into account. I like that. So that's what I got for me today. If you came on this journey with me, thank you. It was fun. I'm really glad I started this channel. It just started with me wanting to change my old channel name and not being able to because it's not a Google account. It was YouTube before Google bought YouTube. And they're like, you can't change your name. And I was like, oh, but I want to be the Hierophant. The Hierophant is because I'm a Taurus moon and rising. That's the Hierophant card. And then I'm a Pisces sun. So that's where the fish comes in. Why did I spell it P-H-I-S-H? Because there's a PH in Hierophant. And I want it to be cool. And then I was like, wait, when you spell fish with a PH, that means like a scammer. I ain't fishing, people, I promise. Catfish, Hierophant. Let me stop. Well, Hierophant is about flowing beyond the boundaries of the Hierophant, having the flexibility and the fluidity to be a little bit more selective in what we incorporate. All right, that's what I got. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make the better, the best, the miraculous your reality, because it's possible. And we're in these energies of transition. So much is uncertain right now, but you, at the very least, could do your best to continue to align and manifest the better. Catch y'all later. I got a boo.